broke down on the Harley. Looks like ignition problems, no spark, so I would imagine it's something to do with the ignition unit or the coil. So you need to wonder whether Harleys do always break down. You never know, could just be that. So hopefully that's all it is. I'm just waiting for the recovery now because I can't fix it here, so I'll have to get it back. Have to get it back and have a look at it. Oh well, shit happens. Bit overkill, but okay. Right, well I've removed the timing module out of the casing. That come out quite easy because the hole's just there, and as I've trimmed the casing, the wires just come straight out the bottom, so it's easier to get to, thankfully. So I've pulled that through, just connected the plug and took the pins out. I won't show you that because there's other videos that on YouTube that show you how to get the pins out. It's just a little tiny screwdriver, you just pull the pins out. The pins are that's the socket, and there's tiny little things here. Let me see if you can see really, but there's you pull the orange sealer out and you can just push the little pins aside, then they slide through. That's the old timing module, which actually obviously looks in good nick but isn't. Where are we? There's the pins that come out. Those you'll have to pull out. Now the Ultima kit, which I've ordered, but it's got to come from America, so that may take a time. I thought I'd get started because the wiring is different. Now the Ultima one has 5 wires, but they're different colours and go to different places. But I'm going to use these wires because the plug that these fit into is a sealed watertight plug, and it's got 5 connectors. So the other side's 5 and the Ultima is 5 connectors as well, which is going to work. So these 3, the pink, purple and the white and black, can be used as is because they go up to where the coil mounts up here. The pink goes on the coil, the white and black goes on the coil. I just need another wire for the centre tap, and the another blue wire for the other cylinder, and a wire to connect the tack up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these 3 as is because I can rewire them at the other end, and these 2 which are now going to be redundant. The black's the earth, the Ultima doesn't seem to have an earth, so I'm assuming it earth through the casing. The green and grey was the bank angle sensor, which I'm not using anyway, so I'm going to cut these off at both ends, wire these to the Ultima, and then the other 2 that come out the other plug, I can then use them wires to come up through the casing down here and run them up. And I'm not going to be able to get through the frame again because I don't think I'll be able to get up there. So I'm just going to run them up and under the tank to here. It's only got to go to here anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. So it should be quite easy to do. It's a shame about this, but I'm still not 100% sure it is this. I mean, maybe I should have done a heat test, heated it up with a hot air gun and see what happened, but I wanted to change to the single fire system anyway, so it gives me a chance to do that because the kit eliminates this and the coil. I've heard rumours that the coils aren't that good some of the coils from the Ultimate kits are that good, but we'll see. I mean, this is the Harley one, which I think is perfectly okay. It didn't even get warm when it cut out, so as it's not up under the engine anymore, it's on the side of the engine here, and it was basically ambient temperature, so I don't think that's a problem, but I'll keep that anyway, because you can switch it back to single fire, dual fire, if I have a problem with the coil. Evidently there's two coils they use, one's made in China and one's made in the USA, so hopefully I'll get the USA one, but it will probably be the China one, so we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, update soon. Right, these are the two plugs from the socket that goes up to the rest of the wiring loom. So I'm just going to join these onto here, and then these wires, hang on a minute, stand by. Right, that's better. The door's blowing about in the wind, making a hell of a noise. Right, join these wires onto there, and then these will run up. These wires will then run up to the coil and the tack. So yeah, the way I join my wires is I twist them. I cut two lengths and I twist them together, but not like most people do, so you've got a bit sticking out and then you've got a big lump. If you twist them horizontally and together, one over the other side, then you get nice smooth, then you can heat shrink it, and it's almost the same thickness as the cable on its own. So yeah, and then solder it. Right, they're done. Now what I need to do is to sleeve the two cables together with a bit of nylon braid to insulate it from the vibrations and stuff on like most of the stuff I've done on the bike. Well, this is the stuff I use. It's expandable, which means you can squash it up to get it over the wires, and then pull it out again, and it shrinks right down again. So it pulls all the wires together. Also, it's very abrasive resistant, so it's great for running wires up around the frame and all that, around the back of the engine, because it doesn't seem to wear. So that's what I've done. Covered it in that, and when you get to the end, it sprays out a bit like that. So you do just trim it off a little bit, and then heat shrink it, wrap it, and there we go, ready to go. That end goes back in the plug, or the socket should I say, that runs back up into the loom, and then this can run up around the frame, back up to the coil, and connect up to the Ultima through the original socket. So yeah, this is my wiring diagram that I drew out to show everything that I'm doing. Basically, I'm following everything I'm doing. The wires that I've took out and the wires that I've put in. That's the M unit. That basically covers all the electrics now, which is good. I'm just going to have to redraw this bit now because the wires are different, so I've got to change that. And then I think that's about it. I've got to make sure that this drawing's right, because I always work to this if I've got a problem. So I always double check it and make sure it's okay. But everything else is right, so I've just got to redo this bit. Right, that's already drawn that. Double checked it. I've downloaded a diagram from the website, so it's handy to use. It's also got the other specs. I'm assuming this comes with the kit when you get it. It's all about the setting up and stuff. Interesting thing here, where is it here? This is the advanced curves. There's a switch that you switch on, the dip switch. It says in the curves to use curve 1 in the instructions for normal setup, but looking at other information I found on Sportsters, especially the carbed 1200 versions, this advance comes in far too early, the full advance, which can cause pinging and other overheating problems. So I'm reluctant to use that curve. It's supposed to come in as far as the guys that work on these engines a lot and build the bigger cylinder versions and bits and pieces. They all say the standard is far too early. For standard stage 1 and stage 2, the maximum advance should come in about 3.2. So you can see how this comes in about 2.5. So I'm going to use a different curve when I get it. I think I'm going to use number 2, which brings the advance in a bit later. Not as far as I'd like, but at 2000 revs you're supposed to be about 20 to 25. So if I use these, it's going to be a bit low there. You can program these evidently if you get a kit. You can stick them on a computer and change the curves, which I might do at a later date, but I think I'll stick to number 2 and see how it goes when I get it. Right, here we are. We're up under the bike now. A bit of the camera, and this is the original plug I was talking about. Now what I'm going to do is insert these back into there, and then I've got all the wires I need that come up to the front. That runs up underneath there and comes up, comes out here, and then I can run that up over there to the coil. So I've got to go back in there and then put all that back together. I can't do this with the camera running because I need both hands. It's hard enough laying under the bike like this, but it's got to go back in there, and then I'll cable tie it up, and that can go back up over there, and then ready for the other one to plug into it. Cool. Okay, got the plug back together. It's all ready to go. These 2 wires that I've got here that are cut off, they're the wires that I've used to different things. These are actually both earths, so I'm just going to leave them. I might put a bit of tape around that just to cover them up, but they're not going to matter because they are actually both earths. The green one was the original bank angle sensor, which I removed, but you have to short it out to earth to make the original ignition work, so they are actually both earths. And that will go up there, and then it should come down and plug straight into it. The other wires now, they come up here, go up through there, through the top, along under the frame, and come out down here. So when I get the coil, I can sort them wires out. They go down behind there actually, but one goes onto the coil lead, onto the tack lead, and the other one goes onto the coil. So that's it. So all I've got to do now is wait for the bits to turn up. And my side cover, which I want to get the finned one to match the other sides, I was going to have to wait even longer because it's just cost me loads of money for the ignition unit, so they'll have to wait. Good. Okay. While I was waiting for the ultimate kit to turn up, I decided just to test the coil, and sure enough, It's 40. Primary side 2.3, it's about right. Secondary side, as you can see, nothing. Open circuit. So the problem was the coil, not the ignition unit, which actually surprises me, but doesn't really matter because I wanted to go to single fire anyway. Basically you've got two windings inside the coil. You've got a winding that goes between these two contacts, which is your primary, and then you've got a winding that goes between these two, which is fed off of these. One side's fed off of these. So you should have a low resistance across here, 2 to 3 ohms, maybe 4 or 5 depending on the coil, and somewhere in the region of 10k or more across these two, which I haven't got. I'll draw a quick diagram so you might be able to understand it a bit better. Right, if this is your coil, typical drawing of a single output coil, but they're both the same basically. And that's your HT, your spark plug, and this is your feed from the ignition unit, your low tension coil. Now basically what you've got a winding that comes down here, which then goes across them two, and then you've got another winding that comes here, then goes out to your spark plug. So you've got two windings. This one, the HT, is actually much finer winding than this one. So that's how you can test it, because you've got a winding that goes over here, which is a little winding, and the winding that goes through to your HT is a much finer winding, so it's high resistance. But that's how it basically works inside. The fact that you've got two outputs on this coil just means it's split. With the dual fire one, you've basically got the same thing, but you've got 3 inlets and 2 outlets. So you've got your main supply, which is your 12 volt in, which would be, say, one of these, and that's the trigger that goes to your ignition unit. With this you've got 2 triggers either side. So when this is triggered, it sends a pulse out of this coil, and when this one's triggered, it sends a pulse out of that coil. So that's basically how it works. You've got a coil there, centre tap, and a coil there, and these ones come off of here and go out like that. Same thing, just doubled up basically. Okay. And it's turned up. Here it is. Here's the coil, as you can see. Got 3 contacts and your 2 outlets. Instructions. The ignition unit itself, which replaces the one on the bike. And interestingly enough, HT cable with 2 plugs on either end of the cable. So I'm assuming you cut that in the middle and put the other ones on. Which comes in the kit. Some other bits and pieces, terminals for your coil, and another trigger for the rotor. But mine's a gold one anyway, being a 1999, so I don't actually need that. So there we go. What I'm going to do is put the original plug off the old one on the end of here, and then I've changed the wires on the other end, like I've just shown you, to route where they've got to go. So evidently there is two types of coil, a Korean one or China one and a USA one. I've no idea what this one is, doesn't actually say on it. It says on here Midwest Motorcycle Supply, part number 53434, ultimate coil, blah blah blah. Nothing to do with any makes. But I would imagine, looking at the way this is sealed here, and if you can see that there, looks a bit AWOL, a bit curved up at the end where it's been sealed up. My guess is it's a Korean one, but who knows? Till we try it, we'll have to see. Okay, right, we've done the cable and used the ends off the other one, just joined it in here. All the colours are correct apart from the black, which is now blue, but all the rest are right, so it's not a problem really. And that goes through the crankcase, and I can put the plug back on the end and plug it in. So yeah, ready to go. Today I'm going to fit the ignition unit. It's all turned up, got the wires done, and now it's time to fit it in, time it up and start it up. First thing I'm going to do, remove the plugs and then get it at top dead centre on the front cylinder on the compression stroke. Well, there's the timing marks in the hole. Let me feed this cable through there. And somehow get that in there. Okay. Right then, now that looks like where it's got to be, and then you've got to turn the ignition on and turn it clockwise until the light just comes on. Okay, I'll just put the camera down for a minute. connected the wires up yet. So that ain't going to work, is it? Duh. Right. Right, connected it up, the light comes on. I've just turned it slightly to turn the light off. So in theory it's all working. And we'll put the plugs in and see if it starts, I suppose. Okay, moment of truth. Well, that's good. I'll clear up all my tools and take her for a little run, see how she runs. And hopefully she's alright.